Okay, great. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for attending the Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 council meeting. Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King,
Here.
Zach,
Here.
Mr. Cooney,
Here.
Ms. White,
Here.
Mr. Rock,
Here.
Marshall. Here. Ms. Weiser.
Here.
Thank you. You could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we do have two sets of minutes. First, we have the June 16th. Are there any edits or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll make a second. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mr. Zach.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Abstain.
Ms. Marshall. Abstain. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a special meeting also on July 23rd, the minutes. Are there any comments or edits on this one? Ms. Weiser?
I sent the clerk a comment this morning. I don't know if you did any revision.
Yes, I gave it to Roberta. Right.
Pardon me?
Roberta curable.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second. Ms. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Zach.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Abstain.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, now we are up to additions and removals. I do have one addition. There was a resolution that was left off in error, Resolution 2025-33, a resolution declaring the property and structure known as and located at 2606 Edgerton Road to be a public nuisance. I'd like to add that and make it the new letter M. Is there a motion?
So
So move.
Okay,
I'll second.
second. Motion by Ms. Weiser and second by Mr. Cooney. Ms. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Zach.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. What? Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, are there any other additions or removals? Okay, we are now up to comments from the audience. If anyone has a comment, they could please come up, state their name and address, and you are limited to 5 minutes. Okay, seeing as there are none, we now are up to reports and communications from the mayor.
Thank you. It has been a busy and productive summer for the city administration. Starting with the manhole separation project funding update. Thanks to our lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C., the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior Environment met on July 15th and approved for University Heights an earmark of $1,092,000 for sewer upgrades. The full committee is expected to approve this project as well. After full committee approval, there will be a wait and see period while the full federal budget for fiscal year 26 is negotiated in the House and Senate before enactment, hopefully by this December. Upon enactment, the $1.092 million will be part of the budget law and available to be programmed by US EPA. Our thanks to Congresswoman Shontel Brown for her support of our city's project. This $1.092 million is in addition to the $700,000 we received last year from the state of Ohio's Capital Bill and One-Time Strategic Projects Fund last year. Citywide composting pilot program update. We now have 361 households participating in the citywide composting pilot program. Rust Belt Riders reports that they have collected 27,878 pounds of materials so far, just in the couple of months since the free municipal program opened on May 1st. The average monthly collection weight has more than doubled at the Walt since the program became municipally funded. I will be placing this item for continued funding in the 2026 city budget. Bell Tower Center update. The first new businesses at Bell Tower Center opened in late August. Qdoba Mexican Eats and Smoothie King are both open for business at 2193 and 2199 Warrensville Center Road. The parking garage on site is being redone to make it smaller and more well lit. The peel back is already underway with cabling removed and other handwork from areas of the parking garage before partial demolition of the northernmost section. This work should be done by October, well in time for the holiday shopping season. Demolition work for the interior of the former Tops Grocery Store on the second level of the Warrensville Tower commenced over the summer, and the build-out for Urban Air Adventure Zone and indoor trampoline park will begin this fall. This business should open in early 2026. The McDonald's of Halal. Another business coming to the city is Shaw's Halal Food, which is under construction at 2115 South Taylor Road. The former Queens, New York City pop-up is planting roots all over the map, with 106 USA stores open, 51 under construction, including University Heights being its third Cleveland area location. Gateway North update. The land for JCU Gateway North is cleared and the project is underway. The new specialty grocery store should open in September 2026. The new student apartments should be ready spring semester 2027. Summer fun in the pool and the sign. Over the summer, we had 7 Thursday evening summer concerts, including 2 by the University Heights Symphonic Band. We had another season of yoga in the park. We just completed another successful pool season. We will need to do a fair amount of work at Purvis Park Pool to ensure it will be ready for 2026, including but not limited to replacing the sand filter system, repairing or replacing the boiler, and locating and resolving the leak in the pool, which causes our staff to have to top off the pool every morning. This pool season also has seen the fabrication and installation of the new Purvis Park pool sign, complete with electronic messaging screen. Alerts about the pool and other city and public service announcements rotate on the screen. Sidewalks. At my direction, and based upon work performed by our summer intern Beth Manning, our law department is drafting a new sidewalk ordinance at my direction, which should be ready for the September 15th council meeting. I understand there was some discussion in committee about whether the administration would agree to suspend enforcement. I've also asked Mr. Bryan to draft a moratorium on sidewalk enforcement for a 60-day period. If council will commit to a brief but formal moratorium on enforcing repairs on sidewalk issues ostensibly caused by city-owned tree lawn trees and pass a new ordinance on sidewalks within 60 days, I will agree to suspending enforcement pursuant to such ordinance. I've long believed it would be appropriate for the city to take responsibility for sidewalk repairs due to city-planted trees, and would be happy to see council adopt the change. Upcoming events. Awesome. John Carroll University's Athletic Wellness and Event, AWE or AW Center, officially opens September 9th. This 125,000 square foot hub for athletics, wellness, and student life features an indoor track, courts, and flexible study spaces all under one roof. John Carroll's championship-winning track team will no longer have to travel to Spire in Geneva to practice, and JCU will be able to host track events. Come celebrate. On Friday, September 12, 2025, the University Heights City Hall building will turn 100 years old. We are inviting the community to come celebrate with us. I will give remarks on the lawn in front of the building at 2 p.m. We will have light refreshments, cake and beverages. From 3 to 4 p.m., we will have small groups tour the administration building. The Village of University Heights laid the cornerstone for this iconic building at the corner of Warrensville Center and Silsby Roads on September 12, 1925, when the village had just 600 residents. The village had just officially changed its name from Idlewood Village to University Heights Village on April 1st of that year in celebration of the Cleveland Catholic Diocese purchasing the land to move John Carroll University from Ohio City, where it shared a campus with St. Ignatius, to its current home at 1 John Carroll Boulevard here in University Heights. Heights Regional Active Transportation Plan update. The cities of University Heights, Cleveland Heights, and South Euclid are hosting a community meeting on the Heights Regional Active Transportation Plan on Tuesday, September 16th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the former Wiley Middle School here at 2181 Miramar Boulevard to discuss the benefits of active transportation infrastructure projects give updates on specific projects, and discuss next steps. The event will consist of two parts, presentations and an open house. During the presentation portion, groups such as the Heights Bicycle Coalition, Cuyahoga County's Department of Sustainability, NOACA, and Burton Planning, the consultants who crafted the plan, will give brief remarks. The open house will comprise various tables where specific topics can be openly discussed in small groups. It is my hope that both members of the general public and elected officials interested in active transportation will be in attendance. Fall Fest preview. We are so excited to host Fall Fest that we've scheduled it for the very first day of the season. Meet you at the Walt for the 5th University Heights Fall Fest on Sunday, September 21st from noon to 5 p.m. 3 local bands will take the stage at the Susan Infeld Gazebo, as attendees will hear from Faith and Whiskey, Jason Patrick Myers, and Yadisha Cup. There will be food trucks and family activities. As always, the stars of Fall Fest will be the artists, vendors, and makers who will set up shop in the park. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire famously sang, you will remember the 21st night of September. See you then for Fall Fest. Trees and weeds. I would be remiss if I did not point out that today's meeting marks the 1-year anniversary of the introductions of our proposed new ordinances, 2024-64 and 2024-65, revising our ordinance on weeds and our ordinance on trees, including the establishment of a tree commission. The ordinances remain jointly in the Service and Utilities Committee chaired by Councilmember Sherry Sachs and in the Building and Housing Committee chaired by Councilmember Wynn Weiser. On behalf of the people of the city and the citizen members of the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Sustainability, I remain hopeful that we will see these ordinances back before the full council for passage this fall. Economic development, zoning code update. This past Friday, August 29, 2025, was Susan Drucker's last day with the City of University Heights. Ms. Drucker, former 2-term mayor of Solon and University Heights Economic Development Director since 2018, has retired. Together, we created the City of University Heights' first Economic Development Department. Ms. Drucker was instrumental in doing day-to-day legwork on transforming University Square into Bell Tower Center. Ms. Drucker also worked extensively with John Carroll University on Gateway North, on the Athletic Wellness and Events Center, among other projects. She worked with every business in this community and took calls and meetings with prospective businesses regularly and constantly. More than that, Susan has been a trusted advisor. Her advice was well taken, some of which perhaps only a former mayor can provide. We will miss her. Given the timing, I've appointed myself active economic development director for the remainder of the year, being the remainder of my term as mayor. The next mayor may decide on the position in 2026. For calendar year 2025, while I'm serving as mayor, I will be doing it with no additional compensation. Projects continue. One of these projects is the Comprehensive Zoning Code project. Susan Drucker was the project manager, and I've taken over this project. The city kicked off this project on March of 2023. It could have been done, should have been done in about 18 to 24 months. It has been 30 months now. This is not the fault of Susan Drucker that the project is incomplete. Since May of 2024, 16 months ago, the City Council Economic Development Committee members John Rock, Michelle Weiss, Wynn Weiser, has had the draft zoning districts for review and comment. Per the project timeline, their review and comment should have been completed in around 60 to 90 days. At the committee meeting of June 25th, 2024, committee chair, Councilmember John Rock, promised us meetings all summer to get this done. To be clear, that was summer of 2024, not this past summer. Instead, the Economic Development Committee did not have another meeting until October 28th, 2024, then not another till March 20th, 2025, and then finally on July 8th, 2025. Just 4 meetings in the last 16 months to review and comment on a matter that should have been turned around in 2 to 3 months. The Economic Development Committee's feedback, which the consultant wanted before he drafted the proposed new zoning code, remains incomplete. Moreover, at the July 8th meeting, the committee, through its chairman, expressed that they will not complete their work this year. Councilman Rock said a lot of things at that meeting. Of particular note, the following, quote, "I know you wanted this done before the end of your term. I know you're going to be unemployed next year. Please do not rush this committee. We are hearing everybody. I apologize this was not done sooner for you." Understanding that ultimately no code will be passed without council approval. Understanding further that members of the public want to comment on the concepts set forth in the code and want to see the code. Understanding still further that the City Council's Economic Development Committee is not going to finish providing feedback anytime soon. I am advancing the project. Based upon our consultant's recommendations and select feedback we have received to date, today we have a draft proposed zoning code for public review. The September 2nd, 2025 draft zoning code is now on the city's website at the Economic Development page. Also posted on the Economic Development page, I will be chairing 2 town hall meetings on the proposed new zoning code. Sean Suter of ZoneCo will present at both meetings. Mr. Suter and I will take questions and comments on the draft code at both meetings. The new zoning code town halls are Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, and Thursday, October 30th, 2025, the 30th of both months, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at John Carroll University, Dolan Science Center, Donahue Auditorium. The public is invited to review the draft code, listen to the presentation, and take part in both meetings. City Council members are also invited to attend. Thank you. This concludes my report.
We're now up to the City Council communications. We have had a very busy summer. It's probably the busiest summer in terms of meetings since I've been on City Council. We had a rec meeting in June, which discussed, we actually had 2 rec meetings. The first one was right after our regularly scheduled council meeting. But in both meetings, we discussed assessing the pool, as the mayor just mentioned. It needs quite a bit of work, and we have to look strategically in the future to see how we're going to proceed with that. Park resources, sunshades for the park have been requested by many, many residents. It will be a welcome asset when those are installed, and that has the engineer has looked at that already. And also playground needs at Purvis Park. Replacing the playground, it's quite old and does need some new equipment. We had an economic development meeting, and we have another one tomorrow. The draft was not complete. It is getting completed tomorrow in committee, so I'm not exactly sure what is posted on the website. I never heard of that yet. But we will be speaking, I will be speaking to the law director and to Mr. Rock to see how to proceed with that. Our Building and Housing Committee was extremely busy with short-term rentals. We rejected a ban, and we are currently upholding what is in place right now. Our Service and Utilities Committee met twice to discuss trees and weeds. We have finished, or the Service and Utility Committee has finished the tree ordinance and now is on to weeds, which I feel probably after 2 or 3 more meetings will be complete. We've had extensive comment with experts that have come in, as well as that committee. We had a special meeting as well. We had our service committee meeting, 2 of them, to discuss the signal project, which will be discussed today in City Council. And finally, in our building committee, we had another one on exterior inspections, specifically sidewalks. City Council was unaware that the mayor was thinking or presenting anything, and that will be discussed. Sounds like we're on the same page. And there is an assessment for trees right now, which will tie into the sidewalks, which I think will be a good discussion tonight as well. Are there any other comments from city council? Yeah, Mr. Roth?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to respond to the mayor's comments regarding the Economic Development Committee, as well as him appointing himself Economic Development Director and trying to subvert the legislative process by taking over the zoning code comprehensive redo. We heard tonight that last Friday was Susan Drucker's last day. We actually heard from Ms. Drucker herself. She emailed the council to let us know she was retiring. There's been no mention from the administration, not from the mayor, not anybody, that she would be retiring this year. So that came as news to us. So I congratulated her for her work, and I think we had a very good working relationship, and she will be missed, but it was really unfortunate that we heard at the very last minute from her herself. Mayor mentioned that we had only met 4 times in 24 months. Well, that's not true. We've met 4 times this year alone. And we would have had 2 additional meetings, but we couldn't get a quorum because unlike the mayor who schedules meetings without us, I try very hard to schedule meetings with the mayor present, and he was not always available, including the last meeting, which we did hold that the community got to engage in. We had public comment from at least a dozen neighbors adjacent to Warrensville Center Road on the street of Fenwood, who came to discuss their thoughts and viewpoints on the zoning code. Because of that meeting took such a long time hearing from public comment, the actual work of that committee was postponed to tomorrow. We're going to be meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. in this room to go over the draft, final meeting of that draft that ZoneCo had prepared. Now, in preparation for this meeting, I went to the city's website and I discovered that there is a draft of the zoning code dated September 2nd on the website. And again, as the chairman of this committee, I have not seen this draft. None of you have seen this draft. It's 185 pages. The draft that we were working off of was 48 pages. So a very large, substantial change has happened since our last meeting and today. None of us were made aware of that, but we're all expected to approve it by the end of the year. Again, the mayor is trying to subvert this legislative process in a way that goes against our due diligence and due process. We just heard from Ms. Sachs earlier today talking about the value of committees. And what better way than to hear from the committee itself, made up of almost 30 people. 7 council members, the mayor, the economic development director, the law director, the clerk, building commissioner, the housing director, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals, members of the Architecture Review Board, members of the Planning Commission, as well as elected or appointed resident committee members. So it's just disappointing that instead of talking to the 30 people who use this code, who know this code, who apply this code in the roles that they do here at University Heights, will just not be appreciated. And I see that as a fact. As I look at this draft, I only had about an hour to skim it because I just found out about it about 4 o'clock. And none of the changes that we had suggested made it to the draft. So the 30 members who've spent hours discussing how to make this better just didn't make it to the draft. But instead, we're going to have 2 town hall meetings prematurely. Again, the town hall meetings were promised for the end of the year based on what we decide is the right course of action in the next draft. So there is a new draft. There's a meeting tomorrow. I'm not sure, the meeting tomorrow was to continue discussing the prior draft, but now that there's a new draft of 185 pages, I may have to think about how I want to structure this meeting. There's no way we'll have that reviewed by tomorrow. That's just not going to happen. But unfortunately, the mayor took it upon himself to advance this without any of the input from the committee members, including scheduling 2 premature meetings, one of which I'm not even available to attend. Again, I always reach out to ask for your schedule. It would be nice if you reached out to ask about our schedule. But I expect nonetheless, I mean, that's your character. That's how you are. And I've grown accustomed to that. It's not okay, but that's who you are. And so you will need council to approve this. So we will continue to do our due diligence in a process that's appropriate, that's thorough. It may take time. The 185-page draft will take some time to review with 30 people. So I will report on the progress as we make progress. Again, tomorrow's meeting is at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Ackmansweiser. Give a city council report.
Yeah, you said due diligence, John, and that's true. Weeds and grass and trees seem very, very appropriate. We got handed an ordinance and basically said, pass this. And what we chose to do was to do due diligence. The number of changes that we made on the tree ordinance are fairly substantial. But no one complained about them because they actually made that ordinance better. So what we started with and what we ended up with were something that is good. We've held it only because although the administration doesn't want a public hearing on it, we have heard individually from residents that have concerns about some things in those. So having a public hearing where our residents can actually give input that is listened to and considered is helpful. This administration has a number of things that it has done that with that impact every resident in this city. The zoning, before I got on council, I would read on Facebook where there were council members that said, oh yeah, we've had public hearings on that. Oh, no, you didn't. Those are committee hearings, and those meetings are not well publicized. So when people would say, oh, I didn't know about that, the only reason we had the amount of feedback on that zoning thing was because the mayor tried to push through or dumped into, I think it was zoning. Let's discuss building something at the corner of Silsbee and Warrensville Center. And the residents that live on Fenwood had a lot of really good comments for us. So there is a way that any government can do things. We can, in small groups, decide what we want to do, how we want to do it, and then at the last minute, let y'all know about it, which means we don't respect any one of you. When this administration came in, they promised transparency. Transparency has gotten less and less and less over the past 7.5 years. And it's sad. Council isn't sitting around twiddling our thumbs. We're trying to do good work. When we do good work, like the short-term rental ordinance, we have a mayor that refuses to enforce it, which is against the law. That is the law in University Heights. But we can't get it enforced by the administration. which means wild parties that go past 10 PM. Sorry. That's in the ordinance, but he won't enforce it or allow it to be enforced. So we could sit here and poke at each other. But I find, and I didn't know that this appeared on the city website until I came, until John told me just before the council meeting. And once again, it is oh, I'm going to do this my way. I want these things in our zoning code and you all will like it. Well, I got news for you. There are residents that are probably not going to like a lot of what's in there. And they need to read it, and I'm going to make sure that any way I can, I encourage every resident in the city to go look at it and to read it and to take a look at how it would impact you, where you live, and what you're going to have to put up with going forward. That is disrespectful. Our residents are not stupid people. I've gotten more good feedback that actually helps me tweak things to the better by talking to residents. And it's because we're supposed to be a community. We can run this place like the federal government wants to run, where it's my way or the highway, or we can run this city as a true community. And I think it's about time we stand up and start saying, no, we want community.
Thank you,
Vice
Ms.
Mayor.
Weiser.
Can we move on to agenda item 8, please?
Yeah, if there's no other council comments or reports. Okay, we are now up to reports and communications from the directors. Department of Finance.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just wanted to give a quick update that we are working internally, meeting within the next few weeks on a proposed budget for 2026. We have every intention of presenting it at the first meeting in October. Because I am new, I don't know what the proper procedure, if you have finance committee meetings prior or what that should look like. So do you want them in October? or-
So if you're ready for the first meeting in October, that would be wonderful. And then we could have directors meetings after.
Okay, perfect.
Ms. Weiser?
When Mayor Infeld went out, she was willing to wait until after the election so that the incoming mayor had feedback, the incoming mayor being Mayor Brennan, as to budget decisions. I think that was healthy in view of the fact that Mayor Brennan has spent 2 years that I've gotten to hear him very vocally letting council have it for even daring to ask for the budget to be prepared and to council by December 1st. I believe that's the first
No.
meeting,
It's November.
November.
We changed the ordinance.
By November. I find it sort of strange that suddenly we want to do October 1st. There are 3 people running for mayor. At this moment, we don't know who's going to win. And we don't know what their priorities might be. So while I appreciate that we'll get some heads up, I certainly would not vote to approve any budget until after the election.
Ms. Sacks?
Thank you. I sponsored that ordinance.
Finance. Go ahead.
I sponsored that ordinance, and I believe there is a clause in there that while a budget is prepared, there is the option to delay it past January 1st if, to get additional input and for other reasons, perhaps if there's union negotiations coming up, other things that might make it more appropriate to extend that deadline. having a new mayor could be one of those. I'm not sure. I would ask the law director to interpret that.
Right, I think there's a distinction between presenting the budget to council and then it's in council's hands at that point when it wants to pass it.
That's,
But
Thank you.
if you're gonna pass a permanent or a full year budget, again, nothing's permanent budget wise. It can always be reappropriations and changes during the year. But if you're going to do a full year budget, that would need to be done before the beginning of the year. If you're going to pass a temporary budget for the first 3 months of next year, that needs to be done by the end of the year. And then the budget needs to be passed by the end of March.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor. 230.03, Mayor submission of proposed annual budget to council. The mayor, with the assistance of the Director of Finance, shall no later than the first regular council meeting of December of each calendar year provide city council with the proposed annual budget for the city for the next calendar year. So what made sense was we would receive the budget. Doesn't mean it has to be approved that day, but we at least receive it in the first meeting in December. But we do need to approve a budget no later than March 31st of the following calendar year.
yeah, so thank you for that correction. That was the revision that we made during the
Right.
passage of the ordinance, so I appreciate that. And as Mr. O'Brien said, we could pass a temporary budget for a new incoming mayor. Mayor, did you have something?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I wanted to clarify and correct the record on a couple of matters. One, when I was elected mayor on election night, when Mayor Infeld conceded, she told me then that she would ask council to prepare temporary and continuing appropriations in the new year. She did not introduce ultimately a budget other than the temporary one. And when I got here, we began working on a budget, which I don't believe was introduced until late February. And was passed on the, by special meeting at the end of March, just within the deadline. That said, I brought up last year when Mrs. Sachs and others on the council supported mandating that a budget be introduced by some point in the fall, which ultimately became the first meeting of December. And, I'm bound to honor that. So I will be introducing a budget because you passed an ordinance saying I had to. Now, I'm working with Ms. Iconis to have something, hopefully by the beginning of October. That does not require you to pass a budget before the election. It does not require you to pass a budget before the end of the year. I'm simply attempting to meet the obligations that were imposed upon me by ordinance by this city council that a budget be introduced by this administration, even for next year. I would encourage you to work with whoever the next mayor is on a budget so that it reflects his or her budget priorities. And that even if you do pass a budget before the end of the calendar year, that you be open to amending that budget quite liberally in the first 3 months of the year and throughout the year as that new mayor gets his or her feet under them with regard to being the mayor and the realities of how one handles a budget from this seat. But that said, we do intend to put forth what we believe are the appropriate priorities for the city in 2026 from the point of view of the city administration currently, from the point of view of directors and chiefs who will likely still be here under, the next administration, provided the next mayor is willing to keep them. And a lot of these things are things that would be, naturally appropriate or on the schedule, shouldn't be controversial. Ultimately, whether the council decides to pass a budget for next year within this calendar year or not is ultimately the council's call. But I want to honor the ordinance that was passed and provide a budget as set forth by ordinance. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the finance director?
I just
Ann?
have one brief comment. I'm very much happy that the mayor and the finance director are working together on a timely manner in accordance with the ordinance. The ordinance was born out of being pushed up against the wall and almost, to face a government shutdown if we weren't, if we didn't pass. And I'm not going to go into detail, but that remedied that problem.
What do you mean by that?
Confuse between.
Okay, so Ms.
Just
Thank
let
you,
shut
thanks. Thank you,
Please,
Mayor.
fill us in. What was the shutdown?
Okay, we're stopping these comments right now. Ms.
Thank you.
Iconis, is there anything else that you wanted to discuss? Okay.
Thank you.
We will be,
Well,
we will be having a quarterly finance meeting, probably around the time that we have that draft budget. So thank you very much. Department of Law.
I have no report, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. We're up to Public Safety, Police Chief. Chief, could you actually come up? I have a question for you. Thank you. Yeah, Chief Rogers. I just wanted to know in terms of, I know we passed an ordinance on parking tickets, and is that active now? Where that stands.
Yes, the new parking tickets with the new fine schedule that council approved earlier in the year went into effect and was rolled out into the field on July 27th. I'm sorry, correction, August 27th, the past few weeks.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Have any questions for the chief?
I have a question. Chief Rogers, have you refused or otherwise failed to break up any parties at Airbnbs?
Not that I'm aware of. Our agency response. And we take appropriate action accordingly based on the.
Okay. All right, so to be clear, there are no Airbnb parties that the police department has failed to break up or that I have told you not to break up, as Ms. Weiser has suggested. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the chief? Ms. Weiser?
Number one, chief, my comment had nothing to do with our police department.
Of course it did.
My comment about the 10 PM is that anybody getting a permit for a short-term rental, and that goes far beyond Airbnb.
Point of order. Is there a question here for the chief?
Yes, there is. You just asked the chief, you were trying to make a
Now
point.
you're talking to me. Do you have a question for the chief?
I will
Ms. Weiser.
refer to the chair.
Ms. Weiser, continue your question to the chief. Thank
Okay.
you.
Are you aware of that 10 PM clause in the ordinance? Just out of curiosity? The short-term ordinance. Pardon me? Okay, so it duplicates that. 'Cause I didn't see that, but that's okay. All right, I didn't see that, but that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Weiser. Are there any other questions for the
We'll
chief?
get to it, don't worry.
Okay, thank you, Chief Rogers. Chief Perko, is there any report?
You speak into the microphone.
Yeah, is there the mic?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Oh, great.
Can you maybe take Katie's microphone?
Yeah.
Two items to report this evening. One, the banner tape around the roof of the fire station is an indicator that we are finally working on the roof replacement project. So they've dropped off materials last week. They'll be doing work this week into next and hopefully wrapping up then. So we're excited to get that repaired and replaced. And secondly, September is National Preparedness Month. We'll be posting some information on social media. This year's theme is including everyone in preparedness. So that includes our older adults, our children, and those with special needs or functional needs. We'll be promoting how to build and maintain emergency supply kits, developing family communication and evacuation plans, and signing up for local emergency alerts, such as the Ready Notify that the county provides that our city utilizes. Internally, we are working on preparedness through hydrant testing and flowing, which will be beginning in September again. Our equipment readiness checks and training, as well as providing education and assistance to residents with our home safety inspection program, which is ongoing, and our open house, which will be coming up in October. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Chief. Are there any questions for the chief? Hey, Service Department? Thank you. Building, I don't see Mr. Bartley. Is there any report for him?
Mr. Bartley is ill and there is no report.
And Housing and Community Development?
Good evening. I just want to first give a friendly reminder that any e-scooters or e-bikes left outside of designated hubs should be reported directly to the vendor. Each vehicle has a device ID number and a GPS tracker. It creates a lot of back and forth when we're told where it's approximately at and not exactly where it's at. And again, they have the GPS trackers to actually identify where the vehicles are.
Ms. Davis, I'm sorry to
yes.
interrupt you. Do you have the vendor's number or email?
They're on the bike
It's
itself.
right on the bike. Okay,
Yes.
great, thank you,
Yes, you're
because
welcome.
there's been a lot of complaints about
Yes.
that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Also, the case has been filed regarding the fence on the property on Edgerton. And lastly, pertaining to the sidewalks, I would like to request that we promptly work together to establish a plan for the 2025 exterior inspections to ensure that the schedule does not create an overlap with the inspections required in 2026. In my opinion, the early planning will provide consistency and reduce confusion with the staff and the property owners. And that's it.
Thank you, and I appreciate those comments. I think we all agree with you. Mr. Rock?
I just have a question about
Yeah.
the scooters. Where are the designated areas that they go to?
They're
Is there a-
scattered. I
Is
don't
there a
have that.
map or, I mean, how would we know if it's in the designated area?
Well, so there's actually parking hubs for those. I can't say that they're all throughout the city, but I can provide the maps for where specifically they're.
But in no way would be in front of someone's house, correct?
No,
Because I've seen in a lot of different streets, the bike just parked in front of someone's house, either
Yeah.
on the sidewalk. I saw it on Miramar on the street itself for several days. So I assume that's not the appropriate place to park it.
it is
but
not.
Would you be able to send us like a list or a map of where those are?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
So,
I'll provide
So-
the map.
Ms. Davis, one other question.
Mhm.
I know that, I think I asked you and Chief Rogers if you could prepare a report on how this season went. And, so we can either make improvements, see how, the vendor, there's been a lot of complaints, so I just want to make sure that we can get better next year.
Okay.
I think this could probably be in a safety committee meeting. Ms. Marshall's giving me the eyes, but we're talking about scooters anyway, so we can fold this into that. But I
I
appreciate
think it
that.
originally started in safety.
Yeah, it
so
did start in safety.
Congratulations.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Davis?
I was gonna say something. I
Sure.
think that those scooters also automatically shut down when they're in an unauthorized area. Like if you, like it's supposed to be, I thought it was when they were supposed to be only to be used in certain areas, and if they're outside of that area, that it'll shut them down. That's what I thought.
You are correct. The original ordinance did have geofencing.
Yeah.
But we've since when we did pass the ordinance, when it was revised, the geofencing was removed.
Okay,
So it's all throughout the city, just like any other form of transportation.
okay.
So it could travel between cities. That's why it was
Okay.
taken off. Okay, thank you. City engineer.
So I just wanted to give a couple updates. The 2025 street repair project will be beginning next week. Tentatively, their starting date is September 9th. 9th and 10th, they would be milling all, is it 5 roads? I lost track now if we have 5 or 6 in our program this year. But they'll be starting on the west side of town and moving to the east side of the town. It'll be 2 days of milling and then 2 days of intermediate asphalt. So hopefully they do start on the 9th, and that would be Tuesday through Friday. They would get the streets milled and the first layer of asphalt down. Then they'll be back to do repairs. The curbs and any pavement repairs, catch basin or manhole adjustments and reconstructions. Last year's project, a few things have come up recently. For most of them are tree lawn restoration. So I will be reaching back out to the contractor from last year, Geauga Highway, asking them to touch up on all the tree lawns again. Hopefully, since we're in September now, the weather will be cooler. We'll get nighttime rain and everybody's tree lawn will fill in okay. Our pavement evaluations are all complete. We're working on the report, so hopefully we'll have it before the next meeting. And then you guys can take a look at all the streets. We have a lot that are in bad shape. We have a lot so one of the things is, we could put a budget, we could put a dollar amount in the program and say, if we have $1 million for 5 years, it'll recommend streets to be repaired. Whatever I put in the report can be adjusted, but I am gonna start with something. So.
Great, thank you. Ms. Weiser?
Thank you. I mean that, thank you. I think our residents know our streets are in bad repair, but I think getting that report is a key to a coherent strategy to
Right.
have them
Long-term.
repaired and also to understand budget impacts of it. And I think
Yes,
that will make all of us much happier. Thank you, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, you're not done with your report.
I just remembered, the pavement marking program has been completed. If anybody has any comments on any areas that wasn't painted sufficiently, let me know. I didn't close out that contract yet, but I am going to be closing out that contract very soon.
Okay, great, thank you. Communications and civic engagement, is there any report?
Yeah, Mr. Cook is at a school event this evening, but he wanted me to pass along that the new Mosaic magazine has hit mailboxes and is available at various locations, the library, businesses throughout the city. Thank you.
And economic development?
Yeah, I think I gave most of my report already, but I would add that my schedule for tomorrow was not respected with respect to any meeting tomorrow night. I will not be at a economic development meeting tomorrow evening. I have prior engagement, both medical appointment and a personal engagement. So thank you.
Okay, we are now up to the reading and disposition of ordinance, resolutions, and motions. Letter A, Resolution 2025-37, levying tax year 2025 special assessments for the cost of constructing, maintaining, repairing, and cleaning of the sanitary sewer system within the city. Finance Director, would you present this?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. There are no changes from the previous years for the assessments. That is for all the sewer, the shade tree, and the lighting.
I know that Mr. Kennedy said one of the funds needs to be updated, possibly transferred. Mr. Bryan, do you remember which one?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. He suggested at some point we should raise the assessment for one of them. I don't remember.
Streetlights.
Streetlights.
Good.
But that involves a significant
Yeah.
process, order review.
Okay, so when we get to the next agenda item, we can maybe discuss on how to start that process. But does anyone have any questions for the finance director?
For the sewer?
Yeah, we're up for the sanitary sewer system. Yeah. Is there a motion?
So move to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise.
Aye.
Mr. Rock.
Aye.
Ms. Marshall.
Aye.
Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Agenda letter B, resolution 2025-38, levying tax year 2025 special assessments for the cost of street lighting within the city on all designated properties served by streetlights at the rate of 80 cents per frontage foot. Ms. Ikakis?
Was the other one on, no, the other one's not on emergency?
It's a resolution.
The
Oh, it's
resolution.
resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarification.
So I know that there is, I think, some work to do on this. And I remember many years ago, it meant, I think we had to bring in John Carroll. It was a whole process. Maybe we can talk offline on getting that started. But is there anything that you wanted to say specifically about the street lighting?
To that point, if there is one that is kind of lagging behind the others, that would be the fund that you would want to look at. You do have healthy balances in the others, which is great because you never know what may come, especially in the sewer and water maintenance. So any discussion you'd like to have, and I can do research for you.
Okay, great. Ms. Sacks?
Thank you. I've been asking a couple of the directors, which streetlights the city is responsible for, which streetlights the utility company is responsible for, the location, the number of, the placement, because my understanding is that they're owned by us and by another entity. So I'm hoping that will be part of the next part of this discussion. It may impact us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's significant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sacks. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'd note this, the title of this says, "and declaring an emergency."
Oh,
Pardon?
I was supposed to delete that. I need to-
Okay, so that
Okay,
is,
now
that's
it's
an
an
error. It's just a regular resolution. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you.
I don't have it on mine.
I do, right here.
It's on the record.
Ordinance.
It's on.
On the ordinance,
On the actual ordinance.
not on the agenda.
Do we need to amend that?
It's on the resolution.
Yeah, I would just, someone wants to make a motion to strike the and declaring an emergency and
So I'll amend
Yeah,
my
thank you.
motion to strike, to proceed with resolution 2025-38, striking declaring an emergency.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. King. Ms. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise.
Aye.
Mr. Rock.
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
all right, and now if we can go back to motion to pass, we have a,
We have an amendment to pass. And is there a motion to pass resolution 2025-38 with the amendment?
So moved. I move to pass resolution 2025-38.
Seconded.
Second by Mr. King. Ms. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise.
Aye.
Mr. Rock.
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
And letter C, resolution 2025-39, levying tax year 2025 special assessments for the cost of planting, maintaining, trimming, and removing shade trees at the rate of 70 cents per frontage foot. Before I ask the finance director for her input, one comment actually that Mr. Rock brought up in our last Building and Housing Committee meeting was this fund could possibly be used to help the city with our current sidewalk issue. So in our next meeting, that was one of the specific things that were going to be addressed with a draft ordinance.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to let the finance director be aware of that. And is there anything we should know about this?
Again, this is a very healthy balance, and it can most certainly be used to fix any of those repairs that are done by trees planted in the sidewalks. Again, at the next, it'll be prior to the next council meeting, correct?
Yeah, it'll be right,
meeting,
it'll be
yes.
right
Yeah.
before.
Okay, so I'll prepare some
Yeah.
information that I can find, and I'll get with the law director to make sure we don't duplicate efforts, but if we can find any other communities to compare.
Great, thank you. Mr. Rock?
And thank you for bringing that up. I just wanted to check with the law director if that's an appropriate use of those funds, since it's for maintaining the shade trees. If the shade tree causes damage to a sidewalk, could those funds be used in this current form, or would we have to make any adjustments to this ordinance?
I think we could say has to do with maintaining the tree.
Maintaining the tree.
Trimming roots, and we're making sure the sidewalk's not impacting the tree and vice versa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor,
Yeah, Ms.
the
Weiser?
packet reads and declaring an emergency.
Right.
So I would move to strike and declaring an emergency from resolution 2025-39.
Thank you. Is there a second?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Cooney. Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll on the amendment?
Mr. King?
Aye.
That?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
And is there a motion on the main resolution with the amendment?
So move.
Is there a second? I'll make a second on the
I'll
amendment.
second.
Okay, Ms. Weiser. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Thank you. And we have the same issue with 2025-40, by the way. It says declaring an emergency. But resolution 2025-40, levying special assessments for providing city services in the removal of nuisance condition lawn care at various locations throughout the city of University Heights. So this, okay.
Motion to.
Did you want to speak on this piece also? Okay.
It worked out a little bit differently this year, because the contractor that initially was to do the work, kind of went MIA. So our service department, was able to fill in and take care of these nuisance properties. These are people who have received a bill for violations. They've had multiple opportunities to pay their bill. They did not pay the bill, so it will be going onto their property taxes to recoup the cost the city put in to, abating that property of a nuisance.
Thank you. And are there any questions?
Yep.
Ms. Weiser?
I noticed Plutus has a number of their properties at $75. Are we not charging the extra? Because I think the ordinance is the charge for the cut plus $100 fine. And a lot of these, number one, I will say this. The list is reduced and the dollar amounts are significantly reduced from last year. But when I went down the list, I noticed there are some regular residents. But there are a number of rental properties where apparently they would prefer we cut the grass. So, I just was questioning that, that's all.
They're not all for lawn care.
Okay,
There are other violations that are unpaid that then are put onto the property.
oh, okay, thank you.
I think, are there any other questions, Mr. Rock?
Yeah, I had a similar question to that. And I was trying to figure out why some of these, like there's a $690 one. And then there's a bunch of 354, a bunch of 230, rest are 75. I guess maybe going forward, we could have a list of what that includes, if it's like a number of cuts or other violations or something along those lines, so I can kind of understand, engage what's happening here. And I do want to point out that the majority of these fees are with LLCs.
Then rentals.
Mhm.
I can tell you that 690, the only reason that other property that that person owned isn't there is because the neighbors kept cutting the grass. That's one that the housing department has been working on and has been following up on quite diligently.
Are there any other questions? So is there a motion to amend the resolution and to,
Move to
remove
amend the
the-
resolution, let me find the number, 2025-40, to remove and declaring an emergency.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Back.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Is there a motion on the main motion? On the main resolution?
You gonna make, I'll make, are you
Okay.
making the motion?
I'll make the motion to pass.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Back.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Letter E, ordinance 2025-41, establishing chapter 884 of the codified ordinance titled Non-Governmental Emergency Medical Response Services and Emergency Ambulance Services on first reading. Mayor, you're the sponsor of this?
I am, but Chief Perko wrote the memo, so I would suggest we defer to the chief. See that the union president's also here.
Yeah. Chief Perko, was this the memo that you just sent out at like 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, so I know I didn't get to finish reading it. I don't know if anybody else did.
I didn't even know we had.
Chief, maybe read it for the record.
You don't have to read it for the record. I mean, I was just gonna say, maybe you could just highlight some
Yeah,
things.
it
and then-
highlights.
Yeah.
The ordinance is fairly self-explanatory and coincides with the comprehensive statement I provided back in June. The memo today, really, it was to provide everyone with the latest comprehensive information. Due to the summer recess, we have not met or discussed this topic at all since June. So I just felt like it warranted some additional information, introducing it back in after the summer recess. We presented on this numerous times throughout the year, including the June 16th Director's Report, where I gave an executive summary to the comprehensive statement that was later sent to council on June 20th. The ordinance before you tonight was drafted by our law director in collaboration and consultation with the law directors, mayor, safety directors, and fire chiefs of our regional partners and our bordering cities that we run mutual aid with that are experiencing similar operational challenges as we are. This ordinance is based not only on similar ordinances already affect locally here in Ohio, but also established practices nationwide. The ordinance reflects the recommendations that I've consistently made to protect public safety and ensure accountability. It's not about exclusion. This is about clarity, safety, and maintaining the public's trust. I hope council really considers to move this legislation forward. Some of the highlights in that memo were to address unified command and safety, which prevents confusion, conflicting care, duplication at emergency scenes, and ensuring that municipal services retain full authority over the incident. It ensures integrity of the 911 system by codifying 911 as the sole emergency number and also requiring immediate notification to the UH dispatch center if contacted by other outside groups. It provides minimum standards, non-governmental responders to meet enforceable standards for things like training, medical direction, insurance, liability, HIPAA compliance, and reporting. It preserves mutual aid, protects our longstanding partnerships with our neighboring departments while barring unregulated unilateral operations. It provides liability protection to the city. Reduces the city's legal risk by requiring licensing oversight, and accountability for any non-governmental EMS agency. And it's a proven best practice. As I indicated, there's a dozen cities in Ohio locally that have similar ordinances, as well as nationally, including New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and others on the West Coast. Passing the ordinance is the most effective step to maintain safety, clarity, and accountability our residents expect and deserve from our emergency medical services provided by our fire department, your fire department.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions for the chief?
Oh.
Ms. Okay. Ms. Marshall, did you want to say something?
Yes, I do. I would like to, I recommend referring this item E to the safety committee. And I would also would like to request the attendance of Hasala and John Carroll to discuss this item.
Okay, thank you.
That's my recommendation.
So just in terms of following Robert's rules, we can make a motion to refer to safety committee. This is on first reading anyway, so we don't have to do anything further, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so is there a second to the motion?
Second,
Second by Ms. Weiser. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Sure. Mr. Cooney?
When is the next safety committee meeting scheduled for?
I don't have a date yet, and as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sack?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
aye.
Thank you, Chief. Letter F, Resolution 2025-42, authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the community cost share agreement between the city and Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Mayor, did you want to discuss this?
I would suggest that, one moment, Ms. Iconis would handle this matter.
Thank you, Mayor.
Please, Katie.
This is, it was overlooked during the process. This is related to the Canterbury Sewer Relief Project. So in order to get the reimbursement for the work, we did pass an amendment to the MCIP agreement, but we did not have an amendment to the community cost share agreement because there was additional budget requested. So this is passing that amendment to the budget so that to the community cost share project budget, not to our budget, so that they will reimburse us $132,000 for the work. So just a little clean.
Ms. Weiser?
Yeah, I think we need to do this. I remember we did approve previously the appropriation for the additional amount when the engineer came in and indicated the additional work that was needed. So I don't, on a personal level, I don't see an issue with it.
Thank you.
And I would so move that we,
There's, sure.
yes, hang on, I gotta get up the top again. Resolution 2025-42.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sack?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Thank you. Letter G, ordinance 2025-27, establishing section 1474.15 of the Housing Code requiring monthly Department of Housing and Community Development Department reports to the mayor and council. And this is on second reading. Ms. Weiser.
This, as I explained the last time when this was on first reading, that we actually, Building and Housing met, discussed this. We had discussed it actually multiple times. And the committee referred it back to full council with the recommendation that we pass it. This is just to request simple reports in a number of areas that are provided to the mayor and council, so that we can remain up to date, have a sense of what is going on with things like point of sale, citations. All of council gets to hear when something goes wrong housing wise. This will help us be a little bit better prepared We currently get weekly reports from building on permitting. And those have been tremendously helpful. As a matter of fact, they allow us to lessen the calls to building to see if dumpsters have permits, which, and the dumpsters usually are good indicators of rehab going on in a home where work might be being done by a flipper where it isn't permitted. So it's worked quite well with that. And we recommend that it be approved.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. This is on second reading. Are there any other questions? Mr. King?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Prior to the meeting, resident Micah Meliscus reached out to me. He would have been here himself, but he was feeling a little under the weather, but he made a comment on this ordinance, saying that if these reports are generated, if they could potentially be placed in a location that's accessible to the public, just so that they're not hidden behind walls like other things, but just that was the suggestion from him. So thank you.
Vice Mayor, Mr. Bryan, I would assume they are public record, are they not? As
Yes.
they come via email.
Well,
So that's,
without having to file a FOIA request.
oh,
what
some
was
on the website. Yeah, that would be nice.
So
But that takes coordination with the administration as
Yes.
well.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So move the passage of ordinance 2025-27, establishing section 1474.15 of the Housing Code requiring monthly Department of Housing and Community Development Department reports to the mayor and council.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King,
point of order, well, sorry, aye.
Okay.
What,
Yeah? Okay.
what's your vote?
I was going to point out that the mayor had his hand raised, but it's
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
discretion of the
I did
Chair.
not see that.
Okay.
Mayor, did you want to,
Yeah.
before we vote?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one more time for the record, I said it this on first reading as well. I view this ordinance as an improper infringement on the operations of a particular department and that director. It's the council, of course, is allowed to seek information from our department directors. I do not stop that. However, where I do draw the line is where we start dictating to directors as a city council what their workload's going to be. And, this creates a substantial new burden on this particular department. At no time was I asked if I would simply have these reports generated. Instead, this is high-handedly being done. It is an invasion of the administration's purview with respect to how we run this department. I'm going to veto this ordinance, as I said last time. And if you override my veto, I'm not going to follow it. I don't think it's legal. And, it's too bad that you're going to be this way about it. But it can't be countenanced. So if you pass it, you pass it. I suggest, you take a fresh look at it. And I suggest you not pass it. Thank you.
Okay, since we continue discussion, Ms. Weiser?
Mr. Bryan, is this legal?
My opinion, it is. I don't think it's an extensive burden on the department. It was discussed in committee. You asked for Ms. Davis's input as to these items and the ordinance. A lot of it's just asking for numbers, how many point of sale applications were filed the month before, how many point of sale inspections did you do, for the different categories of what they did. And I think a lot of this can be done just by pushing a few buttons to generate these reports. So in my opinion, yes, it's entirely proper for council to get information as to that would help it with what the department's doing, what the workload is. It impacts council's decisions on the budget, on staffing, and their legislative duties as to what legislation's needed relating to the department.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. I would say that this is not intended as a drill down. It's not intended to do anything other than be informative. I think when we discovered that we had an ordinance already that required permit reports and they came in, we found them exceptionally helpful. I can tell you, having a good sense of the number of permits that are issued throughout the city helps us see how healthy the city of University Heights actually is. We have residents that are continually updating their homes, not just in terms of people who are coming in, buying and flipping, but just residential wise. And having a sense of that gives us a sense of what our housing stock is like. Well, I appreciate the mayor says, oh, you could ask for it. I can tell you I have asked for things in writing and have been basically blown off. And only verbal reports are given at council meetings, which is somewhat helpful, but not as helpful as having something that one can go to actually work from. I think it is important, especially for an older inner ring suburb like University Heights. We need to be able to really look at more and more housing opportunities, things that we can do legislatively that will assist us. I mean, some stuff that was already done by prior council, I wasn't on it, was, and I'm gonna forget what it is, the ability now to do a major renovation of your house. And if it exceeds a certain amount, you're not having to, you're getting an abatement on it in order to encourage people to really upgrade their homes. We have older homes. They become, homes as they age become technologically and functionally obsolete. Unless we can find a way to encourage our residents to continue to address those issues, the value of our housing stock will go down. So this is not meant in any way, but just to get information that then we really can use to start looking at things legislatively that we potentially can do in order to help the city. This is all computerized. We use CitizenServe. And they can do an SQL. This is not beyond the capability of a computer system to pull these reports. Obviously, permits are being pulled and sent to us, so we know CitizenServe has those capabilities.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. We do have a motion. Yes, Mayor?
Yes, yes. I mean, we've heard a lot of great good government reasons by the sponsor of this legislation as to why this ought to proceed. These are protectual. This is continued and increased micromanagement of a department by a committee chair who's hostile to that director and that department. And that is why this is a problem. Because this is different, excuse me, I have the floor. This is different than having our building department, who is a contractor at this time, providing reports, because, you know, the contractor has certain resources that we would allow, that we would require them to give us reports on. And as a contractor, we're going to hold them, you know, to a certain standard. Here with this particular city department, the very same chair that's demanding an increased workload out of this director and this department has thwarted this department's staffing for a year. We finally had, after 9.5 months of belligerence over getting a salary for a coordinator position, you know, we finally had passage of that at the last special meeting in the middle of the summer. You know, this is stuff that has gone on, against this particular department. It actually precedes the current director. It's part of the reason why the previous director left. And somebody's got to draw a line at some point and tell this council person to stop picking on the department, let them do their work. If there's actual good government reasons that you really do mean for this information, then that's something that can be worked out. But the hostility that continues to be demonstrated by this bill's sponsor against the director, against the administration, and then offering the good government reasons, we see through that. This is micromanagement. This is hostility. This should stop. And I will veto this ordinance if you pass it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm stopping comment on this. There's a motion. Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll?
King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks,
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise.
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, letter H. This is the motion authorizing the city engineer to notify NOACA and ODOT that the city intends to accept the $500,000 grant the city was awarded in connection with its 2018 congestion mitigation and air quality grant application to submit a revised scope of services, cost estimate, and milestone dates to NOACA and ODOT for the project in a substantial accordance with the city's engineers August 27, 2025 CMAQ project memo and cost estimate, and prepare an RFQ to design firm candidates for the project. We just had a Service and Utilities Committee meeting before. I don't know if the engineer wants to say a few words about it. Just the highlights.
Just the highlights. Okay, like it was stated, this is a grant that we received a number of years ago. And NOACA is asking us to please either move forward on the project or give the money back. So we took a look at the project. We scaled it down a little bit. We're going to concentrate on the Cedar Road corridor and the Warrensville Center Road corridor to give those signals an upgrade and an improvement. And it's a little bit smaller than originally intended, but it'll do a good job with upgrading our system.
Thank you. Ms. Sacks, did you want to say anything about this?
I would, thank you. I'd first like to thank and express my gratitude to Ms. Mockbee for her work on this. I'd also like to express gratitude to both Councilwoman Weiser and Councilwoman Therese Marshall for giving me the opportunity to move this to committee on August 14th and today at 6 p.m. This congestion mitigation and air quality motion was based on an ordinance from over 8 years ago under the previous administration, Ordinance 2017-18. The fiscal year to finally accept or decline the $500,000 funding from NOACA actually started on July 1. We were presented with this on July 23rd, special city council meeting. The mayor put item K on that agenda. And so I can't underscore the value and importance of discussing and using council committee over the summer. I want to thank all the members of the Service and Utilities Committee who made the quorums over the summer. Because through the due diligence and continued discussion in committee, the $2.5 million approximately on that July 23rd council agenda was really almost half that. So you'll see today the amount is $1,386,000. So again, thank you to everyone who took the time over the summer to discuss something that was quite old, but quite necessary, and give it the attention it needed to really understand how to appropriate and ordain this for our city, for our emergency vehicles, which I support wholeheartedly. And we'll see how we can move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sacks. Are there any other comments?
Yes,
Mayor?
thank you. As long as we're busy thanking people, I'd like to take a moment to thank Councilman King for being the first to point out how we could reduce the scope of the project, not because all the items don't merit doing and still ought to be done, but finding and articulating first how we could reduce the scope of the project such that we would get the full $500,000 in funding and still do the work that was necessary for the two main corridors in our city that require the traffic updates together with the system that will be crucial to our safety services. So I know there was a lot of legwork that was done to accommodate requests to verify that certain information within the grant program was represented. But if we're going to go around, thanking folks, I want to be sure that we thank the one who brought it up first. So thank you, Mr. King. This is a good project. Driving down Cedar Road on my way here today, I thought about how we were going to work on this. Would have taken a couple minutes off my time once this project is in place. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
Mr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, letter I. Motion to approve the purchase of an additional 560 95-gallon recycling carts from Otto Environmental Systems in the amount of $28,190.40. Mr. Pennington.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Currently, we have run out of our 95-gallon carts as we have distributed those carts as well as a majority of our smaller carts to residents. To date, we're somewhere around 2,700 carts in residents' hands, which puts us over 63% participation from the eligible households in the city. This purchase of another 560 95-gallon carts will be another truckload of carts. The minimum order that we can do, and at a cost of $28,190.40, which met their original quote to us when we began the program for their cart prices. I recommend council approve this to allow us to order and have an additional 560 carts manufactured and delivered to allow us to get more carts into residents' hands.
Thank you, Mr. Pennington. So I had a couple questions. How many requests have we had?
Currently,
Additional requests?
currently I have a wait list somewhere in the neighborhood of, I want to say around 40.
Okay, and where will they be stored?
Right now, we're currently been storing them behind Yabi.
And are they covered or?
No, these are standard recycling carts, plastic carts. We were keeping them behind the building setback.
And 560 is the minimum order?
Yes, that's one semi-load worth.
Okay, and there's no way to, that's just, when we only have 40, that's just a lot to have an inventory. That's the only thing I'm trying to think of.
We have a regular, we get regular, this weekend I had maybe 10 to 15 people try to opt into the program. So that 40 may actually be a little bit higher than that right now. I don't have the exact number, but it's somewhere around that 40 range or so.
Okay, and my last question before I call on Mr. King is, have we had many, well, actually I have two more questions. Have we had many that have broke? I know you've mentioned in the past, some wheels have popped off, some,
We had a small handful of them that
Not that
have
many.
broken, not that many. The ones that we have been some wheel failures, a few that may have got crushed in the back of the truck as we've attempted to dump them. A few handle breaks, that sort of thing, but nothing substantial.
and you've seen more of the 95 as opposed to the smaller requests?
Yes, right now I have a waiting list for the 95s. People have been reluctantly accepting the 45s until we get the 95s in.
Okay, thank you. Mr. King, you had a question?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I was going to ask about the number of requests, but I did have an additional question beyond that. Have we sought any additional grant funding? I know when we were doing the original request for carts, I think we tried to get approved for a grant from the recycling partnership. I know they have grants on rotating bases. Have you tried to seek any additional funding for these carts?
At this time, we have not for the carts themselves. If we do look for an additional truck or something along those lines, we may look for additional grant funding to provide an additional truck for the system.
Okay, yeah, for trucks, typically that would be like an Ohio EPA grant, I believe.
You could use the Ohio EPA, you could use potentially that source, you could look at Cuyahoga Solid Waste District
Mhm.
as another potential for that.
Okay. I think, I mean, before I turn back, I think it might be worthwhile just trying to see if we can get in on a recycling partnership grant cycle. I think they're done fairly often, and it can take a significant dollar amount off of each bin. Thank you.
Ms. Marshall?
Do we have an option of choosing a different supplier? And maybe you may have an opportunity to order less than 560?
We could do it, but you're probably doubling the cost of each cart.
Ms. Weiser?
How many did we buy last time?
Um,
I know we did a second buy and I didn't think we bought this many.
We bought actually more than that. We bought somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 or so. There were the smaller and the larger. We had a couple semi-loads worth we
I
had delivered.
didn't take the time to go back through. I think
Yeah, we had a couple semi-loads worth.
Ms. Sacks?
Thank you. Thank you for your work on this. It's encouraging and it's so nice to see how this is moving forward. It's been about a year since we've transitioned to waste management, right?
October 1st, we rolled out the program.
When will Waste Management conduct an audit?
They did their first audit between October and December of last year. The next audit will take place sometime between October and December of this year.
Okay, I'd really like to know when that is, and so we can present it in service and utilities. I know that the committee, I know that the solid waste district report is out from 2024, and it was still, our recycling was still at 4%. That's perhaps because we started a little bit later in the year, but I think having the audit beside that will help us understand, even though we're recycling more, are we recycling uncontaminated? So that will be really important for us to have the whole picture. And I will probably do some doodle polls through the end of the year so we can see when that'll be ready. If you'd be in communication with me, that would be phenomenal. I think the residents would really like to have a real good understanding of the whole picture, not just a number that hasn't moved the needle, but what are we doing? And, you know, so much investment in this. I was also going to ask about the grants, and I'm very glad Councilman King did. So there's a little bit of work to do to help us improve upon something that is moving forward. Thank you.
Actually, just one question. Do we have inventory of the 45 gallons right now?
We are right now somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 20 left.
We don't even have that.
No, we're starting to run low on those with those that we've provisionally given out to people.
I mean, I'm just thinking, is there any other city that needs delivery of cans that we don't have to order 560? Just seems like a lot.
They're marked.
No, I know they're marked. I'm saying, is there, but they need to do that because they need to fill the truck. So if there's another city that uses that company.
Well, it's not only the filling of the truck, but it's also the doing a production run of the imprints that they use for our
560, that's all.
That's
Okay. Okay, so yeah, the grants are definitely very important. Mayor?
Yes, thank you. A couple things. As Mr. Pennington, you'll recall, when we met with Waste Management about contamination in the audit last year, they told us that, you know, we had perhaps the lowest contamination rate among all of their customers, and they applauded us for that. So, you know, good work on our residents for keeping the contamination rate low, and also good work on our service department employees for keeping an eye on carts, especially ones that are overflowing with things that are obviously not recyclable. So hats off to Mr. Pennington for having his team on the ball with that. Secondly, I appreciate the sentiment raised by Mr. King and Ms. Sachs about seeking grants. I don't know that we can get a grant from the Recycling Partnership for partial implementation of a continued opt-in program. I think our best chance at a grant with the recycling partnership would be if we were converting to a program where we were getting every household a cart. I don't think that's something that this council has contemplated lately. I know that previously the council was against that. If the council were of mind to expand this program, where to make it a universal program like we used to have with the blue bags where anybody could participate, then I think we might have grounds for writing a grant because we're expanding a program, moving away from opt-in to universal program. If we're not going to do that, I don't think a grant, I'm dubious about the likelihood of success on a grant and would urge that we simply buy the carts so that the people that are waiting can, and that we continue to promote and encourage our residents to ask for carts until such time as every resident who wants a cart has a cart, and every resident who still doesn't have a cart is educated to eventually want one. I would urge that we go ahead and approve the order today. Thank you.
Ms. Sacks?
Thank you. So if we have the lowest contamination rate, why are we still at 4% recycling rate? Anybody have a reason? It doesn't make, that doesn't make sense. And the second thing is recycling is voluntary. If you get carts for each, if we purchase what was $250,000 4 years ago, carts for each household, we could see the contamination rate rise because people who choose not to participate will be thankful to the city for another garbage can. So we can look at that, but again, I would like to hear directly from Waste Management, and I will be glad to welcome them to a committee meeting or to council if we need to do that, to really understand how can we both have the highest recycling rate, lowest contamination rate, and yet be stuck at only 4% recycling. And that's not compost, that's that's not yard waste, it is recycling. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, those two statistics have nothing to do with each other. The 4% recycling rate is not related to the contamination rate. Hold on, I got the floor here. And the fact is, yeah, I was disappointed that we're only at 4% with the latest report, but that was also keeping in mind the fact that we did not adopt this program till October 1st last year. So we only got the benefit of 3 months of of what we were doing with the carts. And in the beginning, of course, fewer people had the carts. So, I really think we'll see a better number in the recycling report for next year when calendar year 2025 has, 12 months of using the modern program. Thank you.
Mr. King?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I agree with that. I don't think that contamination and the amount of recycling correlate with each other. Even if the recycled material is contaminated, it's still being removed from what's going to the waste or to the landfill. Not that we want to see the contamination, but just talking about how the numbers don't necessarily correlate with each other. But I had a question for the service director. I believe that the amount of tonnage that we are collecting of recycling has gone up significantly since we went to this program. Could you speak to the numbers there off the top of your head?
Yes, when we were doing the blue bag recycling, we were somewhere on average about 16 tons per month. Recently, we've averaged around 40 tons per month of recycling.
Wow.
With things fluctuating on a monthly basis, a little up, a little down here and there. The one thing you have to keep in mind, though, when you're looking at volume of percentage, is that the volume of waste can also increase regardless of how much you're recycling. And that can also impact the percentage of your your recycling rate. And that is something that when the county looks at the overall tonnage, both of garbage and recycling, that does affect our bottom line.
Okay, Ms. Sacks?
I'd like to say something about the grant. We can't assume that the recycling partnership we would not be eligible for grants for recycling carts. We would need to see the terms. I'm a grants officer, my regular job. Grants, applications, terms, they evolve. And we would really need to see what is required for us to be considered to apply for grants to have carts or whatever. I think that the opt-in portion may not even be mentioned, but it's something we won't know unless we see the actual terms of the grant application. So I'd like to, I guess I could look that up, but I think that's an administrative role and I don't want to cross the line from legislative to administrative. So I'd appreciate if someone would look that up and bring it to my attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sacks. Is there a motion? So I'll make the
So-
motion. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Sacks.
So moved. I'd like to, should I read the whole thing? To move for item H. I can read it. Mr. Brian, should I read the whole thing?
So
I'm sorry. Yes. The carts. Motion to approve the purchase of additional 560 95-gallon recycling carts from Otto Environmental Systems in the amount of $28,190.40.
Okay, and I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks,
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall,
Aye.
Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
And letter J, motion to authorize seeking bids for the purchase of one Kubota utility refuse collection vehicle. Mr. Pennington?
Yes, this is one of our budgeted items for the purchase of another Kubota vehicle to be used for our backyard garbage collection, where we retrofit the body of the item with one of our older garbage hoppers in the back, and we utilize these for our day-to-day garbage collection throughout the city. This would replace a cart that was put into service in 2017 and would keep our fleet operating as intended without significant failures of our equipment.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Mr. Cooney?
Thank you. Would you have any estimate when the next Kubota would need to be replaced?
That is something we're assessing right now. We may take a year off in order to replace one of our other vehicles. It's all part of our budget discussions we're looking at right now. And in order to do so, we may postpone the purchase of the next one beyond this.
Would we need the Kubotas if we were at fully automated curbside with recyclable and regular trash?
We would not.
All right, thank you.
Hey, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks,
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rock,
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Okay, letter K, motion to purchase one additional Teams room camera from Starfish Computer. Mr. King, a few weeks ago, mentioned to me that the camera is not picking up the full semicircle when people are talking. Starfish mentioned that we do need one more camera to be able to do that. The administration should really be taking this on. I want to thank Mr. King for doing this. And I don't know if Mr. King, you wanted to say anything about your discussion with Starfish or not.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. Yes, I've been continuing to work with Starfish. They conducted a extensive investigation, working with troubleshooting with both Yealink, the company that makes the cameras, and with Microsoft. The issue at hand is it can't lock on to more than each camera. There are 2 cameras. They can't lock on to more than 4. Or sorry, they can't track more than 6 people at a time. And so then it will sometimes forget somebody in the room and they'll never appear. There's also an issue with the center of the room where it sometimes does not acquire the person in the center or put them in half. So there's a memo in our packet that outlines the course of that package. One thing that was not included in our packet was the invoice. Unfortunately, it was a case of forgetting to attach the attachment when sending the agenda to Mrs. Thomas. Thankfully, we have that in front of us today. Thank you for printing that this afternoon, Kelly, or Mrs. Thomas. But just for the record, the additional camera would be $2,199. I want to, before we discuss that more, I wanted to lay it out that I see 3 decisions that we could make here. One, we could live with the way that it's configured now and just have the better sound quality that we have for residents. The second option would be to not have it zoom in on people at all, just have a zoomed out view of the council. We would not need to purchase the camera with either of those first 2 options. And then the third option would be to purchase the camera, and then it should be able to acquire or have everyone viewable up to 4 people at a time still. So those are the options there. I'd like to hear from colleagues on how you'd like to proceed.
One thing I just wanted to mention to everybody is I actually I randomly selected some council meetings of different cities to see what they do. And most of them don't zoom in, which I was surprised about actually. But that's just one little tidbit of information, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do that. Sachs?
Thank you. I first want to let Councilman King know that I appreciate his efforts. I'm still not sure how this is a legislative or appropriations related activity for all his efforts he's put in. Over the past couple of years, I've been asking administration to add an information technology or IT a job task and responsibility to a job description of administration, since it seems to be Mr. King's efforts are crossing over from legislative to administrative executive branch. So it's just a lot of effort that could be done through administration to ensure transparency, access to our residents for our public meetings. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mayor?
Yeah, Ms. Iconis, will you please put into the 2026 budget an in-house IT professional? Thank you.
I would
Mr.
like to
King?
clarify. Okay.
No, I understood what you said.
No, you didn't. I'll
No,
say
I
it
just
again.
disregarded.
I'll say it again.
Mr. King, you had a question?
I was just going to say that the expense would be substantial.
Right. I wasn't saying that at all, if I may.
No, we
I
know
was
what you
saying
said.
to add a job task, not a job description
Okay, is
for somebody.
Just-
Mr.
You would know it, if you would know the difference.
Mr.
Mayor.
Cooney?
I know the
As
difference.
a people thing.
Okay, Mr.
Just-
Cooney has
I
the
just-
floor right now.
Just.
Yeah.
I appreciate, what you say, understand, but these are council meetings. These are not mayoral meetings. Council holds the meetings. We are providing the equipment for council. We're providing the equipment for the committee meetings that council members chair. I don't look at this as being an administrative item. This is council. This is how we support the community, providing that information. So I appreciate what Mr. King did, but we are providing the resource. We identified the resources when we have it. And this is fantastic because the sound quality in the video was terrible. It's much improved. But these are council meetings and we're providing the resources to us. And we're getting the resources for us, for the community.
Ms. Sachs?
I would like to remind Councilman Cooney that the two jobs of council are to legislate and appropriate, not to administer. And it is important and it is council meetings, but it's a city meeting. And that's why we have directors who report and so on and so forth. So not to minimize it. Also, Mr. King is the chair of the outreach committee, which is the IT Information Technology Commission is embedded in it, but they have not met on this subject. So, you know, that could be useful as well. Thank you.
Ms. Weiser?
Well, I appreciate all of the comments that have been made. I absolutely become bewildered by the amount of time we have to spend trying to get stuff done. And as far as I'm concerned, thank you, Councilman King. I think the key thing is we have a system. People actually can log on, follow the meetings, hear the voices, understand what we're saying. We're not getting the complaints, you're not too close to the microphone. Probably as sometimes our residents sit there with a bowl of popcorn and think we're entertaining them. And that's fine. That's transparency. Yes, in these discussions, things come out that maybe belong to one part of the body or the other. And if we ever have in this city a mayor that is willing to really work with its council, hand in hand in council, willing to work with the mayor hand in hand, this city can go very far, very fast, and our meetings won't take quite as long because we'd end up doing more in committee. And here's where I'm at. We don't know how long we're going to be in this room. And to me, what we're doing with this system is testing it. We know we can carry it with us. That I believe, Ms. Councilman King, you have told us that. And
Yes.
I'm right on that. So for me, I would make a motion that we authorize the purchase of the third camera because probably we might be in a slightly better environment than what we have here. And that third camera may come in handy and we may as well get it done now, get it all tested out. And that way, no matter who's the mayor and what they choose to assist us with or not, we can do what we need to do, and that's to ensure that our residents have access to the meetings, sitting at home, eating popcorn, I don't care, but that they know what we're doing. Democracy dies in darkness. This prevents that from happening.
So that's a
And
motion,
that's
Ms.
a
Weiser?
motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, letter L, motion to accept the Ohio Department of Public Safety Office of Criminal Justice Services Officer Wellness Subgrant Award Number 2024 JG A02566622 in the amount of $23,600. Chief Rogers.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Our police department applied for this officer wellness grant through the state in February of this year. In July, we were notified in a document that was provided to council, an award notice that we received a related award in the amount of $23,600 to be utilized to enhance the current wellness program that we have for officers that is currently in place. The approved use of this funds is specific to providing reoccurring training for officers regarding wellness, enhancing the current fitness assessment and evaluation that officers receive from John Carroll University, and also increase the annual frequency in which officers conduct mental health check-ins with clinical professionals on an annual basis. And a little background, we've had, again, this program in place at the agency for about 1.5 years. It's really well received by officers. We have a significant participation rate, and we continue to look to enhance it in every way possible. And the funding for this will assist with that process.
Thank you, Chief. I
Mhm.
think this will be an excellent enhancement. Ms. Weiser?
Wonderful. I'm glad the police department now has this as well. I know fires had it for a while, but I think this is critical for all of our safety responders to be able to have. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Staggs?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Mr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
aye.
Thank you. Okay, letter M, resolution number 2025-33, a resolution declaring the property and structure known as and located at 2606 Edgerton Road to be a public nuisance. Mr. Bryan,
Actually, I can.
or, okay, Ms. Weiser?
This ordinance or the resolution was requested by the city prosecutor. This has been a problem property that the residents, the next door neighbors brought to our attention. The vice mayor and I went out, took a look at it. We worked with the housing director and also the law director and the prosecutor. And although the property now has gone through foreclosure, it was purchased. There are two houses that were purchased by an out-of-state investor to flip. They ran out of money and the houses have sat unsecured. By bringing it to everybody's attention, we were able to find out that the owner was willing to turn it back over to the banks. That has now occurred, but passage of this is important because that gives our city prosecutor something to have in his back pocket while he's following what's going on. Over the weekend, we did have an issue where they finally went out. Mr. Pennington's been working on it along with Miss Davis to get a dead tree cut from the front of the house, and the contractors that apparently were hired by whatever company is overseeing it showed up and tried to pull it down with a van after cutting it, and they left while it was half cut. So there was a whole series of things that went along with that. And if Chief Rogers is here, I certainly would like to thank him as well for the police response on that. But we don't know what else is going to happen with this property. So I really encourage council to pass this. This is just to make sure when Mr. Cicero, if he has to go into court, he has something extra to motivate whoever ends up with this property to bring it back online. The house has great bones. It needs to be finished off on the flipping inside, but it would be wonderful to have this house back housing a family, a young family to grow up here in University Heights, and that street has tons of young families with kids. It's perfect. So please,
And it's on second reading, just to clear.
pardon me,
It's on second reading, just.
second reading. So I would make the motion to approve resolution 2025-33.
I'll second. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Staggs?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Mr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye,
And Mr. Bryan, is there a need for an executive session?
There is not.
Okay, thank you. We're now up to standing committees, building and housing.
building and housing will meet before council on September 15th, Monday from 6 to 7. We will pick up our discussion about sidewalks. As the vice mayor mentioned, we are very grateful that Ms. Iconis is going to be assisting us with that along with Mr. Bryan. Right now, the last meeting, we had a long discussion and residents came about being cited, and this has been a constant complaint, especially where the city trees has caused the sidewalks to rise. Housing will cite, and they're a safety issue. So we're looking at potential ways that the city could either assist the homeowner Because what we discovered is to get these leveled is costing around $1,200 a block, which in some cases is extremely expensive. Also, we discovered that concrete prices for replacements of 1 square or 2 squares have gone up. But the hope is we can sit down, work through programs in other cities and see if we can come up with 2 types of programs that the city might consider adopting, where we would assist the homeowner in doing that or maybe coordinating the repair. That is a sole topic of what we're going to talk about at Building and Housing next on the 15th.
Thank you. Community outreach.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. 2 things. We approved the motion for the new camera. I'll be reaching out to Starfish to coordinate having that installed. And the second item, tentatively have a training session set up with the clerks of council for next week to train on how to set up the meetings and run them. So looking forward to handing that activity off to them.
Thank you. Economic development, Mr. Rock.
Yes, thank you. We have a meeting tomorrow evening from 6 to 8 in this room to go over the zone code draft of the comprehensive zoning code. Since I reported on that earlier in this evening, I actually had reached out to zone code to supply us with the red lines of what had changed between the previous draft and this draft. I was trying to figure out what went into this 185 pages versus the 48 we've been working off of. And it just came to my attention that there was another draft from December of 2024 that was not distributed to our committee. So unfortunately, we've been working off the wrong draft for multiple meetings and yeah. So it's a little frustrating, a little annoyed by that, but tomorrow we'll have to probably start at square one, look at this updated draft to determine where we're going with this. A lot has changed without the committee's knowledge between May of 24 and December of 24, but we are just now getting that right now, the red lines for those two drafts. So we'll go over that tomorrow.
You know, Mayor, I would suggest if at least the September public meeting could be canceled. I mean, we can try and get a few other ones.
We have to engage the whole committee. I mean, this
Yeah.
is.
No, I mean, I'm happy to explain, this second draft and this red line draft. Sean Suter prepared a draft last year because he was trying to move the process along. And we explained to Mr. Suter then that your committee had not yet completed its review and that we were hopeful that you would complete it and that he should take that draft and hold on to it. And that when you completed this process, we would give you that information and then he would update his draft. And then that would be the one draft that went out. Because that earlier draft did not reflect it reflected feedback from Susan Drucker. It reflected feedback from me, but did not reflect feedback yet from your committee as you'd only met in July and in October at that point. So the earlier draft that you're now aware of was not intended to be distributed by the administration because we were hopeful that your committee would finally do the work. But after 16 months, you didn't do the work. So we went to Mr. Suter and said, go ahead and make some adjustments based upon, this feedback. And we're going to distribute this draft and get this process going. Because in the end, the council will be the ones that approve any zoning code change. But you've held up this process for 1 year and 4 months. And this process should have been done in 18 to 24. So no, we're going to have a public meeting on the 30th of September. We're going to have a public meeting on the 30th of October. We're going to get this jump started. In the end, you're going to come around and make your changes. 11 years ago, 2014, Susan Infeld told the previous zoning code consultant that the mayor and the council were at an impasse and to put everything on the shelf and we'll get back to you. And then we never got back to that process. This is what we're doing now.
So thank you. Again, you withheld this information from the committee. A draft was prepared, adding 137 new pages, of which not one person on this table has read, not except you, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know. You don't always read the zoning code, but
You don't need
what
to be
I'm,
working
excuse me,
off
I'm
the
not,
December draft.
let me complete my thought here.
Go
It's gonna take me a minute. What has me frustrated, though, is that the administration was assisting in scheduling these meetings, getting the materials over to the 30 committee members, and not once did you share the latest draft, the December 2024 draft, which is the draft that we should have been looking at all along. We were looking at such an old draft. And this new draft dated September 2nd, which hit the website today, includes none of the feedback that the committee had provided. So I would hope that you could be a little more collaborative. You're going to take this project on. That's great. You can have your town hall. That's great. You're within your right. But at the end of the day, I have to get 30 people up to speed now of what has changed since we have never been made aware of these updates. And so tomorrow we'll start that step at 6
Well,
o'clock.
I
Thank you.
think you misunderstand, and I'd like to make sure that we have clarification here. The December draft was a surprise to us because, we had not gotten back to Sean Suter the information that your committee was supposed to be working on in summer of 24. And he went ahead and drafted that. And we said, hold up, you're getting ahead of us. The committee still is working on the general guidelines. But in a year and 4 months, you have not done the work. And at the July 8th meeting, you were quite clear that we're not going to do the work. So we went back to Sean Suter and said, well, the December draft is not quite it. Make some changes. We're going to go ahead and what do you think about releasing the draft? And he agreed that it was time. I mean, we're holding this consultant hostage at this point because of your failure to do your job. And that's really what it comes down to is you haven't done the work. And you've only met 4 times in a year and 4 months after
That's
you
not true.
promised us meetings all summer.
Mayor,
Yeah, when did you meet? When did you meet
Mayor.
besides June of 24,
Mayor.
October of 24, March of 25, and then July of 25?
Are
You have had no other meetings. You keep talking about this group of 30. You've never had a quorum for 30 people. You've only met as the Economic Development Committee because most of those 30 people do not come to the meetings.
including you.
I've been to the meetings. I will not be at tomorrow's meeting because you didn't
Okay.
consult my schedule when you scheduled it.
Mayor, you were included on the doodle poll.
And I was at the July.
And
8th
your
meeting.
secretary was included on the doodle poll. The fact that you chose not to submit the doodle poll, I'm not sitting here and babysitting you,
No, no.
especially as when you withhold the vital information that we needed.
Mhm.
We had 4 meetings with incorrect information, and that is a waste of everyone's time. It's disrespectful to everyone's time. And it sort of verifies to me why you were not asked to be back on the planning commission for the county.
That is a bizarre thing to say.
Vice Mayor,
And,
So we're
and,
gonna-
you know, if you're, I'm going to address that insult because you intended it to be an insult. I told Mr. Ronayne that I was happy to allow somebody else an opportunity on the planning commission. No, I have a point of order too. Mr. Rock is now just getting to the point of simply levying insults. I ask for his censure. I ask that he be brought to order. If he's going to levy insults and spread misinformation, it should be beneath the dignity of this body to tolerate Mr. Rock and his insouciance.
Okay,
Point
we are
of
now,
order.
So-
up to-
can we
we
get
are
a
now,
report from the
we are
Economic
now
Direct-
up to
from the Economic
the
Development Committee, please?
Economic
We have it.
Development Committee has the report that
Thank
they
you.
are having a
That-
meeting
We're
tomorrow.
having a meeting tomorrow at 6 PM.
Okay,
Have a
we are
good
now
night.
up to finance. We will have a quarterly report in October and hopefully a parent draft budget. Recreation.
Thank you. We had meetings over the summer, primarily focusing on the Burl Rothschild Municipal Pool. One of the things that's very apparent is obviously the pool is 30 years old. We had some significant repairs that had to take place over the summer, which did cause some disruptions. Mr. Pennington, is one of the requests that I've made with from him is we are looking at what parts of the physical plant with the pool need to be replaced as to repaired. We are trying to extend the life of the pool, keeping in mind what we're trying to do with the new city facilities. In addition, establishing a preventive and predictive maintenance program at the pool to avoid such mishaps as we go throughout. We did have discussions in regards to the Walt, additional lighting. We actually refer that to the safety committee to take that on. So appreciate Ms. Marshall doing that. We are also looking at shade sails at the Walt because we have had some from residents saying when the parents are sitting there at the playground and they're, basically under the hot sun trying to take care of the kids or try to get that as well. Along with the pool, we're looking at revenue, which is it's been positive. Again, it has increased for the 4th year in a row to reduce the burden on the city as opposed to the revenue coming in. But one of the things coming to the finance committee, which will be very apparent, is the ask for the maintenance for the pool is going to be significant for the amount of replacement for the physical plant that is going to take place. Obviously, we do not want to have the pool shut down, and some of the equipment is basically at end of life. But we shall hear more from other testing that's being done, including a leak test and other items that'll hopefully improve the areas around the pavilion at Purvis Park and also at the Walt. Thank you. Oh, one final thing. A doodle poll for dates in October for the rec committee will be going out as we're not able to get a quorum for September. So keep an eye on those dates for all council members. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety, Ms. Marshall?
No report, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Service and utilities?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a quick summer meetings report. We met on July 16th, so the Service and Utilities Committee, jointly with the Building and Housing Committee to finish the trees review of that ordinance. And on August 14th, the Service and Utilities Committee met from 6 to 7 regarding CMAQ traffic signals along the Cedar and Warrensville Center Road corridors, which we passed that motion tonight. And we had a joint meeting, Service and Utilities Committee with Building and Housing from 7 till 8 regarding the weeds ordinance. The fall meetings planned on September 8th. There will be a joint meeting regarding the weeds ordinance. Hopefully, that'll be just 1 or 2 more meetings to complete that review. So we can then plan to have a public meeting to review both ordinances with their revisions and updates, 2024-64 and 2024-65, because these ordinances impact all properties. So we'd like very much to hear from the public. We'll also do a doodle for Service and Utilities Committee during the fall, probably a couple of meetings. We have some important issues to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you. And Committee of the Whole, there is no report. Are there any reports of special committees and taking of action thereon? Do know there's a CIC committee meeting that is getting scheduled right now. And then is there any unfinished and miscellaneous business?
Ms. Mayor?
Yeah.
Is there, has a meeting been scheduled for the facilities committee yet?
They are waiting the final costs, I
Yeah, we're
believe. Right?
waiting for FGMA to get their master plan done. I was told that was expected sometime this month.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's
A second.
Second by Ms. Sacks. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks,
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Rod.
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.